life might have been possible just seconds after the Big Bang. Yeah, right. So that right there is like, okay, this is from space.com. This is, based on some new speculative science and the rest of that. But in terms of philosophy and these philosophical constructs, the things we talk about, the alien life form, things like this, it opens up everything. It turns everything on its head in the cosmology of what it means for life in the cosmos, and not just our cosmos. Maybe what about life in the next cosmos, or the multiverse style of the cosmos? I don't really know, of course, but in terms of this, in terms of going all the way to the very, very beginning, and thinking in terms of the primordial old ones or something like this, or the primordial gods of the proto gods that actually begat the new gods, this type of stuff, right? In any case, that's what came to mind tonight. But let me read a little bit of this to you because it's pretty wild. Straight from the article, and this is a nice long one. There's got some good stuff in here. First life in the universe, first life among the stars. Anyway, listen to this. Life has found a home on Earth for around 4 billion years. That's a significant fraction of the universe's 13.77 billion year history. Presumably, if life arose here, it could have appeared anywhere. And for sufficiently broad definitions of life, it might even be possible for life to have appeared mere seconds after the Big Bang. To explore the origins of life, first we have to define it, and this is where it gets weird. There are over 200 published definitions of the term, which shows just how difficult this concept is to grapple with. For example, are viruses alive? They replicate but need a host to do so. What about prions, the pathogenic protein structures? Debates continue to swirl over the line between life and non-life. But for our purposes, we can use an extremely broad but useful definition. Life is everything that's subject to Darwinian evolution. And that's where we start tonight. Darwinian evolution. A very earthbound thing as far as we're aware. But of course, if you start to extrapolate that out into the cosmos and different planets and things like this, personally, I could see where some of those things would play. I mean, that kind of fits with me a little bit. But again, I'm not the cosmic arbiter of truth, as I always say. But if you go all the way back and you start to look at not just, let's say, planetary Darwinian evolution in terms of the alien biospheres we're always talking about, but it's not just like a billion years now. If we're going back to, what do they say, 13.77 billion years is what they estimate the universe to be that old. Well, think of it in life actually being able to become a thing mere seconds after the Big Bang. Why are they saying this? Of course, they're saying this because of stardust. Okay, and if you read the article in full, I'll read a little bit more so we can kind of catch up. But let me get back. I'll get back to stardust in a sec. So it got me thinking in terms of not just, okay, so the alien biospheres, Darwinian evolution on, let's say, Saturn or something. Okay, that makes some sense that some of these rules would apply, maybe these cosmic rules of evolutionary aspects of biology, and from planet to planet, place to place, star system to star system. I think there would be some, I don't know, maybe universal constant there, however you want to describe it, fractal nature of reality or something. In any case, the idea here that we're talking about everything subject to Darwinian evolution made me think of exactly that, all the way back to the beginning. And what does it look like 13.77 billion years ago if we have life almost instantaneously, within seconds, forming from the Big Bang itself? Now, you know me, being the weirdo that I am, I instantly thought of the Lovecraftian old ones. I instantly thought of the primordial gods of old, and that maybe, just maybe, that's exactly what we're dealing with here, not just in terms of our life here on Earth and maybe other life in the universe or the cosmos, or even the metacosmos in terms of the larger sense of the multiverse. But look, I don't know. But think of it this way. If you start somewhere a few seconds after the Big Bang with life, it seems to reason to me that there's some sort of dark energy, dark matter situation happening, okay? Which still exists today. Again, what do they say? Something to 90% of the universe is made of this or something. Like some massive amount is made of these two things that we can't even quantify. We can't measure it specifically. We just infer it from the mass that's out there. I mean, there's a lot of really weird stuff with the dark matter, dark energy stuff. But beyond that, if we had life in the primordial beginning, and let's say there is some sort of Darwinian evolution that goes all the way back, how would an actual entity like a primordial god or the old ones evolve? And are they subject also to this Darwinian evolution? So we're going to look at that tonight and a whole bunch of other things. And now back to the stardust. And why do they say this? Now, specifically from this article, the link's in the description down below. I encourage you to read this. There's some other stuff. I'll add them. Ran out of time. Just it is my lot in life these days. I'm always running out of time. But anyway, so here we go. So this definition is handy. So life is everything that's subject to Darwinian evolution. A very human term, and probably too narrow a scope for this, but that's okay. We're going to frame it in human terms because we have to talk amongst humans, okay? But this definition is handy because we'll be exploring the origins of life itself straight in this article, which by definition will blur the boundaries between life and non-life, which we do all the time on Troubled Minds anyway, in terms of, the synthetic life forms, in terms of AI and all the rest. Anyway, so with this definition at hand, the life on Earth arose at least 3.7 billion years ago. By then, microscopic organisms had already become sophisticated enough to leave behind traces of their activities that persist to the present day. Those organisms were a lot like the modern ones. They used DNA to store information, RNA to transcribe that information into proteins, and the proteins to interact with the environment and make copies of the DNA. This three-way combo allows those batches of chemicals to experience this Darwinian evolution. But those microbes didn't just fall out of the sky. They evolved from something. Enter the stardust. And in life, and if life is anything that evolves, then there has to be a simpler version of life appearing even earlier in Earth's past. Some theories speculate that the first self-replicating molecules, and hence the simplest possible form of life, 4 billion years ago, yada, yada, yada. But the sun was not the first star to ignite into fusion. And if you go all the way back, of course, we're finding with the James Webb Telescope more and older and all the rest of this, that there were stars very, very early, even unexpectedly early in the proto-universe, so to speak, of the very, very early days after the Big Bang. Not just that, they're finding that there were black holes almost instantly. And it doesn't make any sense because, of course, one of the running theories is that the black holes are ancient stars that collapse on themselves and sort of become the inverse of a star. But in any case, I know I'm rambling on here, but I'm going to get to a point. Is that we got this weird situation of the very, very ends, let's say the beginning, because of course the ends and the beginnings all kind of tie neatly together if you think about it. But they're talking about all the way back, literally seconds after the Big Bang in this article. I'm not going to read the entire thing, but that's the idea here and that's the premise. So the few questions for you guys tonight. If this is possible, how does it change the outlook on alien life at all, meaning here on Earth? We're out there looking at Miami malls for shadow aliens, things like this. People are reporting these types of things. And of course, not just a shadow biome here on Earth, but a larger shadow biome in the cosmos itself. Does this change much? Or were you always sort of in the realm of, speculatively that life is probably quite a bit older than we give it credit for? I mean, I always have been, but not to the point where it's seconds after the Big Bang. That seems absurd to me. But of course, we're talking sort of a primordial chaos. Maybe space-time hasn't rolled out fully, this type of stuff. Like, who really knows how time was measured back then? So maybe, just maybe, this flies in Michael Strange's brain. But it doesn't have to, of course. It just has to, but I have to be able to explain it, or else this turns into a crap show. Anyway, so that's the first question. What does it change in terms of alien life as we see it? Because now we're not talking about life on Earth as a 4 billion year old thing. We're talking about life that goes all the way back to the very beginning. That's the first thing. Second thing is, now, if these are sort of primordial ancient gods, again, the old ones are one example. I got some other examples here. The Ogdoad, the Egyptian primordial gods, the Eightfold were 8 primordial deities worshipped in Hermopolis. And the earliest reference to the Ogdoad is from the 18th dynasty, et cetera, so on. But anyway, basically all these ancient pantheons have not just the ones we basically know, Ra and Anubis and all the rest of this, but then they'll have these older primordial deities that it had to sort of create the gods we know, the what would you call them? Terrestrial gods. So anyway, that's what's on my mind tonight. And of course, the question becomes, if we're talking about life is all things bound into and by Darwinian evolution, and now we're being a little bit, let's say, generous with that term and what it means in the cosmos, is it possible that we're dealing with today sort of the long-term evolution of these primordial gods as this dark matter and dark energy. And it is, again, maybe tied into, as a speculative theory, not just the synchronicities, but also sort of a backbone, like an actual backbone, like a cosmic shorthand that can be extrapolated all over and everywhere to make sure that life is, exactly how it's supposed to be. And in that sense, I think it's what would you call it? Lucky mud, we're called. Okay, in the scientific terms, this spark came from lucky mud, and here we are, billions of years later, whatever. I never liked that theory, but as usual, it doesn't matter what I like. Reality is going to do what it's going to do anyway. But so if we are lucky mud, what if the luckiest and oldest mud was these primordial entities? And are they bound by some sort of a cosmic Darwinian evolution? That's the other question here. And that's what I want to know. And that's what's on my mind. And we're going to get to some wild ideas because that's what we do. But basically, how does it change the view of aliens in our realm? That really is what we're talking about. So this is the deal. This is exactly why we do this, because some of these ideas are, bound in science, and that's good. That's a good thing. But of course, what we're trying to do is look well beyond that and all the way back to the beginning and all the way to the end and consider what that means for us here and for us now. So let me read a little bit of this and take a break in a minute here. Sorry for starting late. It's just been, like I said, it's been a roller coaster. Here we go. So life may have existed just seconds after the Big Bang, according to a new study. Well, the broad definition of life as anything subject to Darwinian evolution, as we suggested there, it is possible that simpler forms of life appeared even before Earth was alive. The necessary elements for life, such as carbon and oxygen, are created in the cores of stars. So as long as there have been previous generations of stars, Earth-like life could exist in the universe. Additionally, there could be other forms of life based on the unknown components like dark matter and dark energy, which is where we're going tonight, or even complex structures that existed in the earliest moments of the universe. The study suggests that we're talking about tonight from the space.com article. That study suggests that the definition of life should be expanded to encompass these possibilities. And of course, beyond that, because, well, we're dreamers after all. But so this thing becomes weird when you get to dark matter. So dark matter, of course, remains largely enigmatic to modern physics, as I was saying there, but theoretically could provide an environment suitable for life shortly after the Big Bang. Entire civilizations may have developed, risen, and fallen over cosmic immensities of time, all imperceptible to us, even in conceptual terms. Their ruins could still surround us, invisible and intangible, yet influencing events in obscure ways. And this was the thing that really caught my attention when I was doing this, brainstorming, coming up with some ideas tonight, is that what if all of that dark matter and all of the dark energy out there, sort of the framework that holds things together in the gravitational way, either expanding the cosmos or holding the galaxies together, things like this. What if instead it's not just that, it's some sort of out of phase, incredibly ancient civilization that we're dealing with the remnants of, these ruins that are imperceptible to us, but still there in, I don't know, maybe abandoned, maybe Cthulhu and company abandoned their homes, and that's what we're dealing with as they kind of dipped off into another realm. Anyway, just some ideas to throw out to start us out tonight, but it is strange to me that we're looking at this new science, and they're literally describing that life may have been possible seconds after the Big Bang. That's 13.77 billion years ago, as well the science says, and of course we know, trust the science fiction, as we're told. I'm just kidding, of course. Trust the science as we're told. But what do you know about this? How does it change the actual outlook of what aliens are to us? We talk about long cycles and these evolutionary turns. Well, what does it mean when you start looking at aliens in the sense of primordial old ones possibly evolving through some sort of cosmic Darwinian evolution? How much changes? Or does it not change at all? 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Matt's got it right. Whoa, the evolution of the gods. That's exactly it. Don't go anywhere. More Trouble Minds coming up. We've got your calls. We got James in Michigan and your calls as well. Don't go anywhere. More Trouble Minds and, of course, an elder evolution and primordial ruins of the ancient void. Be right back. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rockfin, Rumble, Twitter, and Twitch. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That is KUAP Digital Broadcasting, because James let me know, because we weren't on it, but now we are. Tonight we're taking your calls and ideas as we discuss this elder evolution. Now look, a new article just came out with new science suggesting that the very first life in the universe may have existed mere moments after the Big Bang itself. Now, to me, when I start thinking in those larger cosmic terms, we always talk about these great cycles and how great and how deep and how far back this goes. And, in human terms, this is nothing. This is literal nothingness. We're like a blink in the cosmic eye. So we're talking about the vastness of eternity, basically, is what we're looking at here, is trying to stare it in the eye and guess what that appears to be. But if we take the framework of life actually existing right after the Big Bang itself and being subject to some sort of cosmic Darwinian style evolution, what would you even call it? Darwinian evolution cosmically, we'd need can I say it? A monad. I was going to say monad. Monad does not rhyme with gonad. Remind yourself, Mike. So a monadian evolution. Anyway, I don't really know. But basically, it changes a lot of things in terms of what aliens might be. Because if we didn't have to wait millions of years to evolve actual life and think in terms of maybe sentient energy and things like this, then, maybe we're dealing with an entirely different framework from jump, and that changes everything, doesn't it? Or does it not? I don't really know. We're just sort of that humans in the cosmic ocean, so speculation is our realm here. But what do you know about this? And like I said, is it possible that we have a situation happening where we have an elder evolution of possibly the primordial gods themselves? And that's what's on my mind tonight. What do you know about it? 702-957-1037. And how does it change your outlook on extraterrestrials at all? To me, just an idea thrown it out there, thinking about it as a kind of rambling on the intro there. But I was thinking in terms of, maybe the extraterrestrials are not physical whatsoever. What if the universe is teeming with life and we're dealing with all of this dark matter and dark energy as sort of that sentient, non-perceptible energy, and most of the life in the universe is beyond the veil, as it's said? I don't know, just some ideas to throw out, but it does make me wonder if there are little green men out there at all, and maybe we are the new kids on the block and haven't evolved to meet our dark energy cousins. What do you know about it? 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubleminds.org. Thanks, James, for jumping in here, saving my ass per usual. How are you tonight? And go right ahead, James in Michigan.
I'm okay. Can you hear me?
Yep, you sound great, loud and clear.
Good. I forgot to turn on streamer mode again, but that's okay, hopefully. And great topic. What's really funny about this in a way is I did not get to listen to much of last night's show at all. But I saw some of the links and everything in the Discord. And so I'm kind of aware of that whole story, but not in great detail. But that's okay, because to me, the more interesting thing out of all that and all these things is the possibility of other entities being seen, whether they were or weren't in this one case. The idea of eventually having something like that happen where it's not any kind of manipulation at all, where it's not for any reason. It's just what it seems to be. Obviously, it's going to be hard to prove because of all the ways that things can be faked now, but I still like to think that maybe someday that will happen. And I like to wonder what exactly that would be caught on camera in that kind of case.
Yeah, like a first contact sort of situation. Same here. I mean, and that's why I think when this stuff happens, we shouldn't instantly just completely blow it off as like, I mean, come on. Because you never really know. As technology changes and maybe we get different, camera settings and things, maybe we start seeing stuff. And again, Dr. Courtney Brown of Farsight suggested, again, if you guys haven't checked that out, he gave the actual camera settings on a free YouTube video, I believe is where I found that. And he reiterated that when he was on the show, that with a particular camera settings and lenses and technology, we can see these things in the sky now. And they're not just one or two. He said they're freaking everywhere. And so I do wonder if, when something like that does happen with the aliens in Miami, it's going to be because of some new technology we have. Maybe some, you're the paranormal expert, of course, but something like imagine in the paranormal world a new ghost hunting gizmo that kind of gives up all the ghosts. It kind of gives up all their hiding places, and suddenly it's no longer a mystery. We're like, wow. And we're looking at it. And that's why I think with technology changing so quickly, we should not be quick to just write these stories off. Kind of squint a little bit and don't let your brain fall out type of thing. But still, like you never know what would first contact actually look like. And would it be shadow aliens in a shopping mall? I mean, that becomes wild if you ask me. But yeah, well said.